Ah, there is a storm brewing. It is lightly raining. You can feel it, you can sense it. I can sense it now as I sit here out on the deck. There's just a faint stillness in the air. There's something on the horizon. It looks that way, it feels that way, and it's just all around you. And here it is as it finds you where you're at. And that's what storms do, don't they? They find us when we're not really looking. I'm convinced that we don't need to look for storms to happen. We certainly don't need to look for storms in nature for them to happen. But of course, I'm not just talking about storms in nature, am I? I'm talking about our own storms. I'm talking about the things that happen when we're least looking. The things that happen when we're not quite certain of what just came upon us. Suddenly, a life that seems so settled, so comfortable, even borderline complacent, has been turned on its head, has been turned inside out and upside down. And yet, here we are to try to piece the puzzle together of what just happened. And in our lives, often, we don't, I think, oftentimes know or sense that the storm is coming. There's something growing, there's something circulating. And I think it oftentimes happens when we're not looking, and it's almost by design. It's almost as if we have to think that we've made it or that we've arrived and that we're there for it to happen, for it to come upon us and sneak up on us. You know, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of storms going on right now in life and in our world. And you don't have to look far to find it or to sense it, but there are storms brewing. There is something happening. There is something happening in this world. And there's something happening, I believe, within all of us. And it's eerie, isn't it? It's like we can all feel it. We can all sense it. And we don't really know exactly what it is, and we don't know how far it reaches into us and what it's saying to us, what it's making us become more aware of, but we can see and sense that it's there. The storms of the world and the storms within us are merging. And many of us, I think, are waking up to the fact that the things in life that we're feeling and sensing and have a visceral response to right now, something is afoot. Something is not right. Something's different about this. And again, I'm not sure what to call it. I'm not sure how to define it and or even really explain it. But I have come across many different videos and people talking about this idea that something is off and we can all feel it. We don't know what it is, we don't know how to put it into words, but something is there. Something is different and something feels wrong. Something feels off. And it's unlike anything that we've felt in our lifetimes. There is so much going on in our world right now, it's hard to keep up. It's hard to know where to look. It's hard to know what to trust. It's hard to know what to believe in anymore. We live in a reality in which I feel like we've never asked the question more, what the heck is real? What the F is real? It's hard to make sense of things when nothing seems real. And I do believe right now that life as we know it is different and it's not the same. And I'm not sure exactly where it's headed and where we're going. But never in our lives have we been faced with, on a real existential level, what is our reality and where are we going? Now, maybe you're wondering, okay, Joe, you're being a little much. You're being a little grandiose and over the top and dramatic with your speech. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think this is business as usual. I don't think this is status quo. There are too many people that I think are waking up and seeing and feeling the same thing. And we're all trying to say it and speak it, but we don't know how. And some of us, I think, are fearful of voicing it and saying what we feel and sense. And we're afraid of maybe putting ourselves out there. But I do think that there's a reality to the feelings that we're unable to say right now. And I think that's why it becomes even more apparent to us to say what's on our minds and to speak our feelings and to speak these unsettling and uneasy thoughts about our space and in reality right now. We are living in unprecedented times. We really are. Where there is so much going on, so much out there. And many of us are just trying to get by, just trying to live our lives, just trying to pay the bills, just trying to stay afloat. That we don't necessarily maybe have the time to stop and think, what's really going on? I mean, really, what is going on? And how am I supposed to live my life in this world and within this system when it seems like it's completely a free for all, when it seems unreal, when the voice of myself and the voice of the people doesn't seem to matter? There is a detachment that I think is real. There's a depersonalization that I think many of us feel deep within us that it's there. And I do think many of us are faking it and pretending as if it's not real and pretending as if these deep rooted, deep seated feelings and uncomfortable thoughts that we're having about the nature of our reality at large, I think we pretend like those aren't there. And many of us are pretending as if that's not real. And then we just carry on to, whatever's next. Just turn on, preseason football or, you know, looking forward to whatever event is going on. And we distract ourselves, and we've been doing that for a long time. But I think with what's going on right now, we are in a spot and in a place in which we can't really, we're outpacing our distraction. We are becoming so awake that distraction is being sort of, it's moving towards the back. It's moving towards the back of the room. And there is a level in which our awakeness and our awareness is overriding our ability to distract ourselves. And I think as eerie and as scary as that is, that's a good thing because we can't avoid what's there anymore. We can't run away or turn away from what we're sensing and what we're feeling, which I do believe at bottom is real. We act as if the things that are unreal are real, and that what we do feel, which I think is more real than it's not, is unreal. And so let's not voice those things. Let's not get our voices out there. Let's not speak on these things because we don't want to rub anybody the wrong way. We don't want to lose people or lose friends or, you know, put ourselves out there in a way that's going to compromise our reputation, our standing in the world, etc., etc. But I think never has there been more of a time in which we do need to be real about reality. We need to be real about the storms of our world, the storms of what's coming, and the uncertainty in which I think we all feel to varying degrees. It's there. I don't know how people can just go on and not feel some deep, laden, deep resonating anxiety. The angst is real. And the angst and anxiety is turning into anguish and despair because what we've been told to be and how to live and what's real and what we should value and what matters in life has turned out to be, for the most part, a giant pile of you know what. And it's one big game. It's one gigantic game where who knows who's at the helm of all this, who knows who's controlling all this, who's responsible for this whole game. And you know what? Like, I don't know about any of y'all, but do you really, you gotta wonder, you gotta ask yourself, do you really want to play the game? If the game is truly rigged, do you want to play it anymore? Because I've heard people say on various platforms and in my own conversations with others, like, whoa, what's the meaning in playing a game if the game is rigged? If it's a gigantic setup where we're not really supposed to win, we're not really supposed to transcend, we're not really supposed to become anything. We're just supposed to go about our lives and be quiet, play by the rules, and pretend as if we're not seeing through the BS of the powers that may be. And I think it's time. And I think we're here. That's what makes this such a dire situation is the fact that we can't afford, I think, anymore to just pretend and to be asleep anymore. We can't just run along with status quo and pretend as if that works. It's not working. And you really got to ask yourself who it's working for. If you're a defender of the system, if you're a defender of things being as they have always been, well, who is that really for? And who's that really about? Ask yourself that question and those questions. And I really am curious as to what you might find and where you might arrive with that. We have to ask ourselves the most uncomfortable questions through an introspective way. And we got to do this with close friends. We've got to do it with people that maybe don't see eye to eye with us in terms of how things work and what it's about. And we've got to continue to ask the questions that in places in which we're not looking. And that involves, I think, delving into areas and going places with ourselves and going places with others in which we're not accustomed to, that are foreign to us, that are alien to us. I don't think any of us or any group or faction or party or, you name it, no one person and certainly no group has the entirety of reality on lock. Nobody can attest to that. Nobody can speak to all of reality. So why do we identify with others, with groups? And why do we hold and cling to parties and groups and affiliations that don't have all of the answers? We have to get outside of our comfortability because storms are coming, storms are happening, fires, earthquakes, rapid changes, all kinds of things in the news and in the political scope of things. We are bombarded with things right now. And it seems like more and more, a lot more of it is outside of our control. And that's the other thing. Because how sad and how depressing and demoralizing is it for us to know that, yeah, we may vote, yeah, we may advocate, and we may protest and get our voices out there, but more and more it seems like none of that really actually matters. I'm not saying don't do those things, and I'm not saying to stop doing those things, but it really makes you question how much those things really matter and what kind of real difference those things are having in a system that seems to be so corrupt and so backwards that it doesn't seem to even make an imprint at all. We are in America living in a time, I think, where we are being confronted with the collective shadow of who we are as a country. And we have to wake up to that. And I think because we, for so long throughout the whole history of our country, have been so asleep and have been basically acting as if we are the best and the greatest and we are the example for the rest of the world, we have never really acknowledged what we are and who we are. You know, the real history. And many of us, and many out there, want to try to act as if we are the greatest thing ever. The whole world should adopt our way of being. But you really, if you're really delving in and you're digging into things and you're asking yourself, okay, what is America? What is it? Then you have to go, okay, yeah, we have some good things going on here. But we also have to say our history is built on a lot of evil, on a lot of nefarious, private, uh, unknown things to the general public that we are completely unenlightened to, and we may never know the truth about. And that is by design. You know, it seems that the further we've turned from the collective shadow of what we are as a country, that the shadow has grown denser, thicker, and more prevalent to anybody that really has an eye and an ear for seeing it. I am not here to throw stones at one side or the other. I am not here to say one side is better than the other. But what I am saying is that we're not looking at, in a real way, who we are and what we've been. And really, who is this all for? Do you really matter? Does your voice really matter? I want you to really think about that. I want you to really think about, in the grand scheme of things, within this system, how felt, how heard do you think you are? How much does your voice really matter at bottom? Is who needs to hear you, are they really hearing you? Don't stop getting your voice out there. Don't stop putting your voice out there. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying it's time for us to really look at ourselves individually on a personal level, but as a country, it's time to make our beds with the shadow of who we are, both in the present tense and in our past. It's time to come home.